Welcome to Living a Bella Vida podcast. This is Erin Schmidt, editor-in-chief of Bella Vida magazine. And I love bringing conversations that inspire and motivate you to go after your dreams. Today, it's my honor to have Wendy Starland on the podcast. Wendy is an inspiring woman who is a songwriter, singer, and an incredible producer as well. And she had the distinct honor of discovering and developing Lady Gaga. She has worked with some of the top musical artists, and she's doing some incredible things to help musical artists to create a legacy for themselves. And she also just got named to the UN Council for Global Change. So I'm so excited to have Wendy Starland. So thank you for joining me today, Wendy. This is so fun having you here in Westlake with me.
Thank you so much for having me. This is fantastic. I'm so happy to be here.
I love it. So a lot of people might not know that you were the creative force behind discovering Lady Gaga before she was Lady Gaga. And so tell us a little bit about that and how you discovered her and sort of how that developed a little bit.
Sure. Well, basically, as you know, I'm a songwriter, honored by the Songwriters Hall of Fame, and I have a huge catalog of songs. And so when a songwriter goes for a publishing deal, most people may not know what that is, but it's kind of like a record deal for a songwriter where they take your catalog of songs, they'll give you an advance, and then put those songs in movies or have artists sing them, whether it's yourself or a different artist. Anyway, Erwin Robinson is one of the big publishers for Viacom, and who was the assistant to Erwin Robinson, but a girl named Stephanie Germanotta, and she's wonderful. When I met her, I didn't realize she was an artist. She was, working at this company and Famous Music Publishing, and we met because I was meeting with her boss about a publishing deal, and then simultaneously I had been writing songs with a multi-platinum producer, and we had been working to come up with some material that an artist who I was to discover and develop would, sing and perform, and we'd collaborate with them and create something magical. And so fast forward weeks later, this girl, Stephanie Germanotta, was on the same bill that I was on. And she tapped me on the shoulder. Oh, I don't know if you remember me from Erwin Robinson's office. Would love to, for you to check out my show. And I said, of course. And I had been searching for a girl under the age of 25 who could be the female equivalent to the lead singer of The Strokes. Who were huge at the time, someone who was edgy and bold, who you couldn't take your eyes off of. And after seeing her perform, I said to myself, wow, this girl is unbelievably talented. She's so incredible. But the things around her weren't at her level. The band around her was not at her level. The, songwriting, everything needed to be improved. And so here I had this full, I went up to her afterwards and I said, hey, listen, my co-producer and co-writer and myself have been working on a project for probably about 8 months to a year. I think that you could be the perfect artist for this project, but you'd have to know that everything that you're doing now would be set aside. And so I said, how attached are you to your band? How attached are you to, these songs, whatever? And so she was very open to doing whatever it takes to make it to the top. And luckily, The collaboration was incredibly successful, and
I'd say so.
Stephanie Germanotta became Lady Gaga, and it was quite a ride. And to this day, just watching her shine, watching all of the different ways in which she is able to spread her message to people around the world is just phenomenal.
Yeah, wow. And what an actress, too. Wow.
Yeah.
Just amazing. And I know you yourself have just an incredible voice, and you've collaborated with some incredible artists like Moby, who I absolutely love. So what were some of your favorite collabs that you've done with artists? Because you've done a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the pleasure of working either performing live, opening up for people like Sheryl Crow, Jack White, or working with people, songwriting and singing with Moby, writing and collaborating on, tracks for the Wu-Tang Clan, Snoop Dogg, people that you wouldn't necessarily expect. But yeah, I've had an incredible time, Billy Ray Cyrus, just all across the board, all across different genres. It really doesn't matter. Great music is great music, and however it's produced and presented is another thing, creates the genre. But working with these artists, they all have something to say. They all want to create a mood. I mean, for example, with Moby, it's called Last Night is the name of the record that I'm on, and he created this whole, New York City night out at the club, and how it starts off slowly and then goes to this, crazy night from what would have been Studio 54, something like that.
Right.
And how musically you get to experience what that feels like. And it's just a really cool experience. He was particularly wonderful to work with because he's so humble. I mean, here's somebody who is not only a great artist, but one of the most, if not the most, licensed artist in history at the time. And he is just incredibly humble, very, he produced David Bowie. I mean, most people wouldn't even know that. Right. But he's just one of those kinds of people who expresses himself through his music and is quite intelligent and very down to earth.
Yeah, he definitely seems like it, and seems like he has a very big heart as well. And loves to meditate and loves to, his vegan restaurant in LA is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I know that being an artist yourself, you experienced how the music industry has really taken advantage of artists and continue to do so, unfortunately. And it's so difficult to make it as an artist because the monetization is almost nothing, and the big guys are winning and the artists are taking, the hit, basically. They're footing the bill to create content for these platforms and not getting anything for it, really. So I love that you are out there advocating for artists. My husband's a songwriter, so I've experienced that as well. So tell us about what you're doing now to really help promote artists and help them win so that they don't get taken advantage of.
Yeah, it's the state of the music industry is really, it's crippling for artists. These are the most sensitive human beings on the planet who are taking their experience and translating it into music so that it can be important to other people and relatable to other people around the world. and they're getting 0.004 cents per stream, or some variable of that. So it's less than half a penny per stream.
Yeah, it's
you know,
insane.
Snoop Dogg got 1 billion streams, 1 billion streams, and made less than $45,000.
That's
When
insane.
when have you done 1 billion of anything? You know, it is a huge achievement to get 1 billion streams and to make $45,000 for 1 billion streams. People don't realize that a world without music is a world devoid of so much emotion and life, and putting a monetary value on it then that is less than half a penny is sending a message to artists and musicians everywhere that you are not important. And you are. You're so important. Right. You are breathing life into movies and TV shows and weddings and parties and whatever experience that you can think of. And I've really placed a focus on changing this narrative because it is crucial for people to evaluate just how important music actually is in their lives in a much more honest and truthful way. And so I've been working with a co-founder of a technology platform with me named Erin and his wonderful wife, Rhonda. And we have, Aris is a genius guy. He's created various technologies and technology companies that have, sold for over $3.2 billion. He is just an absolute genius. And so he said to me, he goes, Wendy, tell me about the process of discovering and developing Lady Gaga. What did you have to go through? Besides, the obvious of songwriting and production, or what are the tools that artists need? What do they require? And so we went through the process, and here were some roadblocks and that we had to overcome these hurdles. Here were some points of launch that were really accelerated her fame, and so we created a platform that made this accessible to artists everywhere. That they have all of the tools they need, and many of those processes have been automated. And that is really what's exciting to me. And so I know, having spent a lot of time both in music and in modeling over the years, that brands have played a really valuable and crucial role in my life. So we've combined the experiences and the monetization power of the brands, the artists, and the consumer, and are able to drive the traffic from the brands and from the consumers to the artist profile and give, artists will receive 70% of streaming and programmatic advertising revenue. Wow. Instead of a really
fraction
instead of a fraction. So we are really going to create a revolution in music streaming and how artists not only get paid. We're not even saying come to us, you have to have 1 million followers to be able to really take advantage of this. We are going to give you the traffic. We are going to drive the traffic to your profile, and we are going to automate the process of pairing you with opt-in consumers from brands that we have on our platform, and giving artists the benefit of that, and having them see that not only are they valuable, but here are all of the tools you need to capture and keep those those new eyeballs, and everybody wins from it.
Wow.
Right now, brands are struggling. I mean, they came to us saying, hey, we have, let's just take a makeup company, for example, somebody like Estee Lauder. If you're a makeup influencer, you've got to buy the makeup on Sephora.com or Amazon or wherever you're going to buy it, create a video, write down what products you're using, put them, upload your video to Instagram, write it down, hope, you don't even have these necessarily direct links unless it's in your story, and then the story is only up for 24 hours. And it's just, there's too many steps, and then you got to go back to those places. But here, it's a one-stop shop where all of it's contained. The value of the influencer is contained because the products and the brands are all set in one place to work together seamlessly. If you are a consumer, you can find what you're looking for faster. If you're a brand, you're not leaving money on the table. If you're an artist, you are monetizing your career, and it is my goal to create a middle class in the music industry that doesn't exist, in the same way that Uber was able to create jobs for people who weren't able to make money by using their car and having their telephone be their business center. But
what's the name of the app?
It's called Music Soul. And
SOUL?
Yep.
Wow.
And it's going to be the soul of music, and really give people ways to identify artists in a much fuller capacity, much more immersive capacity than they currently are.
Wow, that's so incredible, Wendy. Wow.
Thank you.
I mean, not only are you an advocate, but you're putting your money where your mouth is, literally, and you're going out there and creating something that it really sounds like it's going to revolutionize the music industry.
I hope so.
I mean, for so long, I have so many friends in the music industry who are so incredibly talented, who just struggled and struggled, my husband being one of them, who is so talented, but trying to make any kind of money in the music industry is beyond difficult. It's almost impossible unless you're endlessly touring and, burning yourself out.
And you say,
it's crazy.
Endlessly touring. So
yeah.
How many hours did your husband spend learning how to write a song beautifully? All of these artists, songwriting, is spending hours and hours creating, recording, learning their craft. They shouldn't have to be a 3-ring circus selling T-shirts. They are not T-shirt salesmen. That is not what they came into the world to be. They came in to be musicians. And artists are making most of their money off of merch and ticket sales and, things that is not their message. Their message is not their T-shirt. They appreciate the fact that you'll buy their T-shirt because that's how they can pay the bills. But it is... like I said before, artists are very sensitive people, and they have a voice that they want to put into the world in an important way, and we shouldn't reduce that to being a T-shirt salesman, a promotion circus. How many, friends that they have on social media or followers or whatnot. The person who's clicking the like button all day long is the person who's going to have the most followers and has the team around them and the money and all of these things to promote. But the person with the best music, that's the person sitting in their bedroom learning how to play guitar and all the chord progressions and the voicings and learning how to belt it out after 100 nights of touring and their voice is still strong. I mean, those are the people we should be celebrating.
Absolutely. And I think, unfortunately, like we've seen over the years, the saddest thing about the music industry is it eats people up who are these sensitive artists who then turn to drugs or, have an overdose. We can name off a huge list of incredible artists who were eaten alive by the music industry in many different ways, through addictions or the like.
Absolutely.
So, I really hope that what you're doing just completely flourishes and kicks the ass of some of those platforms that really are making a living off the backs of incredible artists who've put every dime and their blood, sweat, and tears into these albums. And I hope you help change that in a big way. And it sounds like you will.
I hope so. It's interesting because social media and technology in general has affected the music business in so many important ways. We see social media, all these images flashing before our eyes, and everything's so visual. And as artists and musicians, what music matches those visuals, or very specific types of music, some of the more sophisticated artists, you and I just listened to Joni Mitchell in the back there, and some of these artists probably wouldn't do as well on social media today if they were just being launched, because of the genre doesn't mix with these flashing images as much. So we're overstimulated in that capacity, and creating the depth is really important. One of the things that I'm really proud of on Music Soul that I had been doing with Give Back Entertainment is putting charities and inspirational causes and connecting them to the artists. Certain artists, Lady Gaga, for example, has the Born This Way Foundation for mental health and mental wellness. So we want to be able to create a platform where you don't have to go searching in 10 different places to find out that that's what she advocates for, and that there are tons of artists who advocate Adam Levine for anti-bullying. I never would have known that. We're advocating for people to be able to connect with the causes that mean the most to them.
That's wonderful. And speaking of that, you were just inducted to the UN's Council for Global Change, which is just incredible. And I'd love to hear more about how that came about and sort of how you think you're going to be involved with the UN.
Well, I'm so excited and so honored that the United Nations came to me and said, Wendy, you have influence inside the music industry and are able to spread your message to people. We'd love for you to be involved. And some of the greatest people on the planet are part of this council. So I am, with great thanks and appreciation to David Daxon, who's an ambassador of the United Nations, and the founder of the Council of Global Change, to induct me into it. So I'm really very grateful. And we are going to be supporting all kinds of UN initiatives in various different ways. One of the things that we'll be working on right away is a song for peace, and music video around it, and creating change in various different underprivileged communities around the world. So I'm very excited to be a part of it.
Wow, that's so incredible. I can't wait to hear how that develops as you get more into it.
Thank you.
And speaking of, touching people's lives. How has faith maybe kind of guided you in your career, or even just inspiration that you felt came from something greater, either in writing a song or when you were in a difficult time in your career?
I'd say that I truly believe that as a songwriter and a musician, that God flows through us. I believe that we are a conduit and a vehicle for this. And when a great idea arrives and you're inspired and feeling the flow of creativity, I don't really believe that it's generated from me. I can't really take the credit for that. I have to say that it feels like I'm in tune with the universe, and there's something greater than that's flowing through me, that's giving me these ideas, that's giving me this inspiration, and I'm truly grateful for it. That I have the ability to manage it, basically, to put it into a song and to put it into lyrics. The discipline of taking those inspirational words, melodies, chord progressions, whatever it is, and making sure that it gets into the world. That's the job of the musician. Wow. It's capturing these little pieces of inspiration and having the discipline to make sure that they reach an audience, make sure that in that moment of creation they are delivered in a way that's going to touch hearts and is true and authentic to the voices that flow through you.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that, especially my husband, who's a songwriter as well. And I think we all can feel that, divinity within us, and it's inspiring when it comes through someone through the arts. I know someone said that, art isn't necessarily necessary, but it makes life worth living. And so thank you for bringing that art into the world.
Thank you.
And because this is a Living a Bella Vida podcast, I always ask my guests, what's your definition of living a beautiful life?
My definition of living a beautiful life is being as true to yourself as possible. I always said to myself, I wanted to live an inspired life, inspired by the conversations, inspired by the people who surround me, the music I'm listening to, the experiences I'm having, the places that I'm going. And it's very easy to let the world say that you're worth this, or to have money create a path for you instead of staying true to your own path. And a beautiful life for me is staying true to my own path, irregardless of the pressures of daily living and the pressures that surround me. And if I'm able to do that for others, then I'll have living a life of service is something that's really important to me as well. So that would be a wonderful privilege.
Wonderful. I love that. So thank you so much, Wendy. It's been a real pleasure getting to know you better and hear about all these amazing things that you're doing. You can follow Wendy on social media at Wendy Starland and hear more about all these incredible projects that she's doing. And we can't wait to hear more from what she's doing. So this has been Erin Schmidt, Living a Bella Vida podcast. Make sure you go like and subscribe down below and comment and let Wendy know how wonderful she is and how inspiring this conversation has been. And make sure you follow us and for more of these wonderful conversations. Thank you, Wendy.
Thanks so much.